I want to share an idea that's super obvious, but we tend to forget it because we get so caught up in our diets and what dietitians say that we often set ourselves up for failure right from the start. So here's the idea. If your diet is easy to follow, then you're more likely to succeed because you're more likely to stick with it. If your diet is difficult to follow, then you're less likely to succeed because you're less likely to stick with it. So it's a simple idea, pretty obvious one, and you must be thinking, of course I need to pick a diet that's easy to follow. Why are you telling me this? Why would anybody intentionally pick a diet that is difficult to follow? But it does happen. And it happens for two reasons. The first is a psychological bias. We think that if we are making big sacrifices, our results will be better. It's a form of cognitive dissonance. So the reality is that results are results. Whether you lose weight or whether you lose fat depends on things like your calorie intake, your protein intake, and your intake of other nutrients. Whether you struggle or not has nothing to do with this equation. So you might as well make it easier on yourself. And the second reason this happens, that we intentionally follow difficult diets, is because that is the mindset that most dietitians encourage. Sadly, most dietitians are always adding more and more rules. Like don't do this, don't do that, don't eat sugar, don't eat meat, don't eat fats, don't eat carbs. So if you consider all of this, it's quite natural to think that you have to make huge sacrifices to make this happen. Now here's the problem. It is really important for you to get rid of these harmful beliefs, these limiting beliefs. Because think about this. Imagine following a difficult diet. So you follow it for around 2 to 3 weeks. There are a few hassles, it's a little impractical to your routine, but it's fine initially. You can handle it. The problem is later something comes up. So it might be more work, your workload is increased, or you have to travel somewhere, or you get busy with something else. And suddenly these hassles become too much to manage. So now this diet has become too difficult to keep up with. Too many hassles and now you can't manage. So what happens is that you end up losing your focus for a couple of days, right? So for 2 or 3 days, you end up cheating. And that makes you super dejected because you broke a promise with yourself. You had decided to follow this diet for a couple of months and you couldn't stick with it, and that gets you dejected. And then we are very likely to quit because if we can't follow it, then like why are we putting in so much effort and why are we making such huge sacrifices? So we quit. Now imagine you're following an easy diet. Initially it's very easy. Motivation is high. It's almost too easy and you're wondering whether you should be doing more, right? Weight loss can't be so easy. So that's how it typically starts. But later, after 2 to 3 weeks, something always comes up. So maybe there's more work, like a higher workload, or you have to travel somewhere, or you get busy with something else. Now, what happens is that the diet which was almost too easy and there were no hassles earlier, now is manageable. And since there aren't too many hassles, it doesn't take up your mental energy. So whatever is distracting your attention right now in your life, you can focus on that and you can continue with this diet because it doesn't take up too much of your focus, it doesn't distract, it doesn't draw too much of your energy. So you stick with it. And soon your busy phase is over and you feel absolutely great that you stuck with this diet even when your routine got a little hectic. Even when it got tough, you still stuck with it. So that gives you a lot of confidence to continue the diet, to diet again, right? To actually hit your fitness goals. And that actually helps you do even better in the future. So it creates a sort of a virtuous cycle which lifts you up. So this is why it is critical to follow an easy diet, something that's easy to follow, something that does not drain too much of your mental energy, and something that does not have too many hassles. It's a simple and it's an obvious idea, but we tend to forget it sometimes. So this is a little reminder for you to make it easier on yourself. Now, if you liked this video, please DM me with what are the things that are stopping you from losing weight or losing fat, from getting fit. And I would like to share some practical insights, either in the form of video or the replies itself. So please feel free to slide into my inbox and tell me what are the things that are stopping you from getting leaner and fitter. Bye.